Hello Algebra 1. Today we're going to look at 6.1a, Part A, Understanding Monomials and Polynomials. And there is a video that I'll have linked in Canvas for you that kind of talks about what polynomials are used for. But I'll go ahead and jump into the notes here. Our objectives today are to find the degrees of polynomials and also classify polynomials. In addition to that, we're going to learn some vocabulary that will be useful, that we'll be using throughout this chapter over polynomials. So a monomial is a number, a variable, or the product of a number and one or more variables with whole number exponents. And we've got some examples here. Monomial, one term there. Monomial, it's a number and a variable, but they're multiplying together. That's okay, it's the product. So that's one, we think of it as one term. A 1/2 times a times b squared. We think of this as one term. It's a monomial. And also it's got a 2 there, which is not a weird exponent. All right, so, and then finally, it's a whole number, I should say, yeah. And so then on this last one, we've got negative 1.8 m to the 5th. The numbers can be negative, that's no problem. You just can't have a negative exponent because that would mess things up. So these are all examples of monomials. They can have lots of multiplication in them, but what you're going to find out is there can't be any addition or subtraction within them. That'll make it not a monomial, it'll make it a polynomial, actually. So here's what's kind of interesting is, so yeah, product, it can be a product, and yeah, it's got to have whole number exponents, so be watching for that. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables in the monomial. The degree of a non-zero constant term, such as 10, is 0. So 10 would have a degree of 0. The constant 0 does not have a degree, yeah. So so 10 has a degree of 0, but a constant of 0 does. We don't even talk about those. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about degree. So this would be degree of 0. This has one variable, so, and it's just x to the first power, so it would have degree of 1. This one has multiple variables, and so what we got to do is we got to add their exponents. So this would have a degree of 3, and this would have a degree of 5. So let's try these out. Find the degree of each monomial. Well, 2 right out of the gate. You might think it's 3, but we also got to add 1 from the x, so there's going to be 4 on this one for the degree. 6 for this one. So just to be clear, 1 plus 3, 3 plus 3. And then on this one, our degree is 0 because there's no variable. Okay, so that's how that works. You're going to want to practice this a little bit. Classifying polynomials. So we're not going to get into too many names here for polynomials. We're going to focus on, well, we've already talked about a monomial, but we're going to talk about binomials and trinomials. So a polynomial includes, so polynomials is kind of a general term for what we're looking at here. A polynomial is a monomial or sum of monomials. Sum or difference, I guess, technically. Each monomial is called a term of the polynomial. A polynomial with 2 terms is called a binomial. A polynomial with 3 terms is called a trinomial. So separated by addition or subtraction, I need to specify that. I think. But, so yeah, we've got a binomial here of 5x plus 2, a trinomial, x squared plus 5x plus 2. The degree, oh, we're going to talk about that here in a second, but the degree is the highest variable within a given term, the highest exponent within a given term. So the degree of this would be 1. The degree of this would be 2. You don't count the x in with that. It's only the highest. So when you have addition and subtraction, it kind of changes the rules a little bit. So the degree of a polynomial is the greatest degree of its terms. So the greatest degree term is going to be the degree. A polynomial is in standard form. So it turns out these two are in standard form. A polynomial is in standard form when the exponents of the terms decrease from left to right. When you write a polynomial in standard form, the coefficient of the first term is called the leading coefficient. So take a look here. This is in standard form. We'll call it a polynomial because there's 4 terms there. It's a polynomial. And then the degree is going to be 3. Let's write this down. Let's write all this stuff down. Yeah, the degree is 3. The leading coefficient is 2. And it's the number that's in front when this is written in standard form. And this is totally written in standard form. And how we know is the exponents are decreasing as we go along the terms there. The first term has the highest number of exponents. So it has this term has the highest degree, which is 3. All right, so yeah, it's got 4 terms. So we'll just call it a polynomial. It has a name, I'm sure, but we'll just call it a polynomial. Anything with 4 terms or more, we'll just call a polynomial. Oh, and then we also learned, well, up above, it turns out this has a constant. And a constant is just a number without a variable, so the constant is 12. So yeah, that's kind of all the stuff that we're going to be looking for. But yeah, this whole thing is standard form. Right there. All right. So let's flip this over. And yeah, we're going to practice writing these in standard form. They also ask us to identify the degree and the leading coefficient. And we'll probably talk about all of our vocabulary as well on each of these. So to write it in standard form, we have to write the highest degree monomial first. So negative x to the third is going to be first, followed by 15x. Now, we have to keep them separated. They're not multiplying together. These are all adding and subtracting together. So we're going to put plus because it's positive 15x. And then finally, we're going to have the 3. So this is standard form. The leading coefficient is negative 1. That's the number out front. The degree is 3 because 3 was the monomial with the biggest degree there. And then also we could say it's a trinomial and it has a constant of 3. All right, on this one, the negative t to the third needs to come first, followed by the t squared, and then finally the minus 10t. So that's written in standard form. And then once it's written in standard form, we can decide what our leading coefficient is. And again, it's negative 1. And again here, our degree is 3. And on this one, it's a trinomial again. And there's no constant on this one. We had no number without a variable. All right, so yeah, let's put this all together, shall we? Write each polynomial in standard form, identify the degree and leading coefficient, and classify each polynomial by the number of terms. I think we're ready to do this. So, class, here's our polynomial. It's a monomial specifically. Monomials are already in standard form. There's no way to write that differently. Leading coefficient, -3. The degree is 4. And classification by number of terms, it's a monomial. Only one term. All right, this next one, standard form, we've got to have 5x squared first, minus x plus 4. Leading coefficient's 5, degree is 2, and this is actually called a quadratic. And then degree of 2, and our classification by number of terms, this is a trinomial. And again, we're going to be using this vocabulary throughout the unit, so don't be too stressed about it. By the time we take a quiz, I think a lot of this vocabulary will be second nature. Okay, so this next one, so to write it in standard form, highest degree term needs to go first. So Q5 first. And that makes our leading coefficient just a 1. We don't have it written there, but it's implied, so there's a 1. And then the degree is 5, and the classification by number of terms is this is a binomial. And finally, the -8a squared will come first, but then it should be the 6a because it has a variable with it. And finally, the constant there. So leading coefficient, -8, degree of 2. And again, this is called a quadratic. We'll learn how to deal with quadratics here pretty soon. And then for classification by number of terms, this is a trinomial once again. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great day.